Thank you. Welcome to BBC London on this first Monday of the new year. Coming up, as freezing temperatures are set to continue tonight, there's extra help for rough sleepers with the capital's severe weather emergency measures.
I'm at a designated warm space, Islington Central Library. Join me later to find out some good advice for all of us in these icy conditions.
Also tonight, 3 teenagers, including 2 girls from London, have been sentenced for killing a homelessness man in King's Cross. Plus, as festive decorations come down before Twelfth Night, the scheme converting your real tree into something that might surprise you. And it looks like art, but isn't. A photographer reveals the hidden world of slime mould, not visible to the naked eye. Hello and good evening to you. I don't need to tell you how cold it is out there, and we are heading for another freezing night in the capital. Yesterday, temperatures in some parts dipped to almost -6 degrees overnight. This is Hyams Park in northeast London. We may not have seen as much snow as other parts of the country, but conditions are still icy. There are emergency measures in place for severe weather. Well, we can join Luxmi now, who's in Islington Library, which Luxmi has been designated a warm space.
That's right, Riz. Yes, I really felt a hit of warmth when I walked in here out of the cold. Islington Central Library is a warm space, one of many warm spaces across the capital. And warm spaces are a designated space where people can go during the daytime in order to keep warm for free. And they're often in places like community hubs or churches or libraries like this one here. And I spoke to some people here earlier to talk about how valuable warm spaces like this are.
Libraries are a very good source for people with regard to warm home space, because they can come here, read books, they can sit and relax, and it provides a very comfortable place for them.
It's very good for keeping warm, yeah. And you can even nod off and go sleep and not get disturbed.
I can see looking around, there's loads of people here who I can really imagine this is a really good service for, who would obviously be outside in the cold. So it's great that there's free spaces. Love the library. More libraries, please. Love them.
So some of the people here earlier speaking to me about the importance of warm spaces like this, and they are everywhere. They're cropping up all over the place across the winter, and I'm going to give you some examples that might be near where you are. So sticking with libraries, there's Newham Library. That is a warm space. Staying east, Barking Sport House and Gym in Dagenham is also a warm space. If we look west, Our Lady of Fatima Parish Centre in White City also serves as a warm space. And the Grove Children's and Family Centre in Camberwell. There's also Takes a Village in Battersea. Another one is People's Museum Somerstown near Euston. And somewhere more central, the Salvation Army Regent Hall. That's on Oxford Street. So those are just some examples, but do check to make sure you can confirm what time they're open, because different ones open on different days and at different times. And in these conditions, it's the vulnerable that are more affected, more particularly affected. And we've been hearing from people in Hackney who say that they have a place where you can donate and collect free woolen items, and they have seen an increase in demand. They say they're struggling to keep up with the demand for hats and scarves and gloves. And of course, the most vulnerable people in these conditions are those who are homeless or rough sleeping. And it's at times like these that the SWEP protocol, the Severe Weather Emergency Protocol, is activated. And that has been activated as a result of the temperatures we've seen, because that protocol means that below 0 degrees, people can have somewhere warm indoors overnight. So that's something that's been activated. Well, let's find out a little bit more about the ways in which we can all stay safe and warm in these conditions. I'm joined now by Chancellor Sheila Chapman from Councillor. I've promoted you. That's set the bar high, hasn't it? Councillor Sheila Chapman from Islington Council. So tell us a little bit about the importance of warm spaces.
Yes, thank you. So welcome to Islington Library. We've got 10 libraries. This is one of them, Central Library. Really important that people who might be experiencing fuel poverty, might be cold, social isolation at home, that could be the elderly, that could be people who are on low incomes, have somewhere to come where, you don't have to buy a coffee, no one's going to move you on, you're welcome to stay all day, read a book, read the newspapers and magazines online. Keep warm and, importantly, access help. So in all of our 10 libraries across Islington, in our community centres, in our Access Islington hubs, in our voluntary and community sector organisations that we fund, there are people here who can signpost our residents to activities they might want to do, ways to stay warm, and debt and energy poverty advice they can access.
And how do people find these warm spaces? Because I've given a few examples there, but how do people look for the nearest one to them?
Yeah, so there's a great website called warmspaces.uk, so that's going to give you all the warm spaces across London. I can say here in Islington, all of our 10 libraries. And I know that not everyone is on the internet, so it's not, not everyone can just go in, go and Google something. So I'd say go into sort of any community centre, any library, you'll be able to come in and stay warm, and you'll also be able to get advice.
And just briefly, there's a way of being able to learn how to stay warm at home as well.
Yes, absolutely. That's the Shine initiative, which Islington Council runs. So that's free advice. So an energy doctor can come into your home, can tell you changes you might want to make, help you with changing fuel supply and managing fuel debt, and little things you can do around the house to stay warm.
And that's across London as well.
London.
Great. Thank you very much. Councillor, sorry, not Chancellor, Sheila Chapman. Maybe one day. Back to you, Riz.
Very much, with some helpful information there. And of course, Kate, our weather presenter, will be here later with a full forecast for us. Also coming up before 7. A surprise for some London school children in Battersea as a Premier League star joined their training with a message for them. Venezuelans here in the capital have been reacting after the weekend's dramatic news of the US Special Forces operation. Unprecedented strikes hit the country's capital, Caracas, where President Maduro and his wife were seized as part of the operation and appeared in a court in New York today. Well, Aisha Baksh has been getting reaction in Bethnal Green from some of those with loved ones back in Venezuela.
Uris Rodriguez runs a chain of restaurants in London, serving traditional Venezuelan food. He says everyday life for ordinary Venezuelans has been difficult for years, and many of his friends and family have already left the country.
Public services don't work at all, so you can go on without water on the tap for more than a month in some places. Lights, electricity will go off for days.
Like many Venezuelan Londoners, he's been closely following events over the weekend, which saw President Maduro and his wife seized by American Special Forces and flown to the US.
Happy New Year.
We're all happy that these two people are not in power anymore, but we understand that there is so much to it. It wasn't just them.
We're still not sure what the path is going to be,
and we're just going to take it day by day.
On Sunday, some Venezuelan Londoners gathered in Trafalgar Square to celebrate the end of Maduro's time in power. Among them was Luis Aparicio, who's also been involved in opposition politics in Venezuela. How do you feel about what's happened?
Well, jubilant, because it's something that we're working towards for the past 27 years. We had 27 years of a dictatorship, and it's been a long journey. With many false dawns in that time that we thought that it had happened, but it didn't, for many other reasons. And so when it happened, we thought very good news for Venezuela because we want democracy.
While Venezuelan Londoners may be thousands of miles away, there is still caution and hope about what's happening in their homeland. Aisha Baksh, BBC London.
3 teenagers, including 2 girls from London, have been sentenced for killing a homelessness man in King's Cross in 2024. A video found on one of their phones showed them celebrating in a getaway car shortly afterwards. Well, Thomas McGill was at the Old Bailey but joins me here now. Hi, Thomas. Tell us more.
Well, this was a particularly brutal attack on 51
16-year-old Anthony Marks back in August 2024. And the court heard previously how 16-year-old JD Bingham, 16-year-old Amira Lee Bradshaw McCoy and her friend 17-year-old Mia Campus George hit Mr Marks with a car bonnet. They chased him, they surrounded him, they beat him, all before Bingham smashed a gin bottle over the homeless man's head, causing severe brain damage. Now, Mr Marks managed to stagger to Keen's Cross, where he got help and taken to hospital, but sadly he died of his injuries on the 14th of September 2024. Today, Judge Mark Dennis Casey sentenced JD Bingham from Dagenham in East London, who was found guilty of murder, to 16 years in prison for his part. Amira Lee Bradshaw McCoy also was sentenced, given 47 months in youth custody. She was found guilty of manslaughter, as was Mia Campus George, and was given 42 months in custody because they thought she played a lesser part in the incident.
And how was this group eventually caught by police?
Well, detectives say that all three, by the way, who we can now name because they're over the age of 18, were part of a County Lines drug gang operating in the area. And they said that a video was found on Bingham's phone showing them all singing in a celebratory mood in a getaway car after the killing. Other selfies were part of the evidence as well, used by police to place all three of them at the scene of the crime. As for the girls, when they were led away, I could see in the public gallery some people were visibly upset, hugging each other and crying. As for Mr Marks, well, there was no family impact statement or family members there today because no next of kin could be found. Riz.
OK. Thomas, with the latest there. Many thanks. Let me bring you a roundup of some of the day's other news in and around the capital. A man's admitted causing the death of a teenager after two boys were hit by a car at a bus stop in Essex. 15-year-old Freddie Coleman was killed on his way to school in Stock in November 2023. Another boy was seriously injured. 6 firefighters have been treated in hospital after 2 fire engines collided in central London on Saturday night. London Fire Brigade says the trucks were responding to an incident in Islington when the collision happened at the junction of Farringdon Road and Clerkenwell Road. And around 60 firefighters have been tackling a large blaze that broke out at a golf club. Crews were called to West Essex Golf Club near Waltham Abbey this afternoon. Authorities say everyone has been accounted for and nobody was injured. The King has paid tribute to a Holocaust survivor who made London her home for more than 7 decades. Eva Schloss was Anne Frank's stepsister and became a devoted Holocaust educator who died at the weekend at the age of 96. Her family say she was tireless in her work for remembrance, understanding and peace. Victoria Hollins looks back at her life.
For 40 years, Eva Schloss was unable to talk about the horrors she experienced during the Holocaust. She then devoted her life to making sure people never forget what happened, co-founding the London-based charity, the Anne Frank Trust.
She will be remembered with tremendous fondness as an extraordinary person who has given to communities around the world an incredible grasp of knowledge about the Holocaust, about survival, but most importantly about tolerance and understanding and how we should all strive for a better society.
Eva Schloss met Anne Frank in her teens after her family was forced from their home in Austria to Amsterdam. Her family was betrayed and sent to Auschwitz, where her father and brother died. She and her mother survived, and her mother went on to marry Anne Frank's father, Otto. It wasn't until the 1980s that Eva Schloss began telling her story, speaking to the BBC for the first time in 1986.
Why are you taking so long to do it?
I wanted to suppress it. I just didn't want to relive it again, but I feel after 40 years I'm ready to tell the world.
Eva Schloss had moved to London in 1951, but in 2021 was given her Austrian citizenship back, having been stripped of it by the Nazis. She was also rewarded for her education work and spoke to BBC London.
We have to learn that it doesn't matter what your belief is as long as you're a decent person. And my husband always used to say there's just one race, the human race.
And even at 93, she danced with the king himself when he visited a Jewish charity. The King said on social media he and the Queen were greatly saddened to hear of her death, saying the horrors that she endured as a young woman are impossible to comprehend, and yet she devoted the rest of her life to overcoming hatred and prejudice, promoting kindness, courage, understanding and resilience.
Her amazing energy, enthusiasm and strength to continue doing that right up until her, very senior years has been an inspiration to all of us at the Anne Frank Trust, and we will never forget what she has given us, and may her memory be a blessing to all of us.
Remembering Eva Schloss. A quick look now at some of the local stories that you may have missed across the BBC News website. In Surrey, low-income households in one area of the county can now apply for new support to help with living costs. In Essex, a bandstand destroyed by arson could reopen as early as March after securing funding. And in Bedfordshire, a second missing statue dating back to the early 19th century has been replaced in a listed garden. And you can follow those all on the BBC News app. Now, tonight, the 5th of January marks Twelfth Night, marking the end of the festive season and the taking down of Christmas decorations, including the tree. And if yours is a real one, there are many schemes across the capital to help dispose of them appropriately and put them to use, as Jem O'Reilly explains from Peckham.
And just like that, it came and went in a blink. Today is the day to take down your Christmas decorations, and with that, of course, comes your tree. But it's important to consider the impact that can have on the environment. So this scheme in Peckham is aiming to repurpose Christmas trees.
So back in November 2019, I left my first job coming out of university. I rang up one of my close friends, Max. I said, look, it's Christmas trees, shall we give it a go? And before you know it, we're up and running, wandering around Camberwell, knocking on doors, seeing if people needed a tree for Christmas, and luckily people did. There are a couple of people who slammed the door in our faces, which is obviously very character building, but it was a huge success the first season, and we kept on going year in, year out. And now Tree Brothers is a seasonal business. We're delivering to businesses, corporates, markets, schools, but from that I learned a lot about Christmas tree waste and saw all of the waste firsthand in the streets of London, and that's what led to Orna Group.
On average, a real Christmas tree comes with 3.5 kilograms of carbon dioxide emissions. But when a 2-metre Christmas tree ends up in landfill without its roots, it has a carbon footprint of 16 kilograms. The Orna project is working to make Christmas trees into construction materials for businesses.
So when it arrives here, it's mostly unprocessed. The trees have come straight out of houses or businesses in different forms, but it comes here chipped up into the right consistency. So that may be large wood chip, small wood chip, ready for us to work with. We then prepare our natural ingredients, which involves cooking and modification of various natural binders, which is then combined with the raw Christmas tree waste to create a homogeneous wet material.
Orna project is also working with young people to show them how they can contribute to lowering emissions too.
We're not trying to change the world quite yet, but it's just about trying to make our street corner a little bit nicer and trying to do something positive rather than doing something that's going to impact our future generations in a negative way.
Jem O'Reilly reporting. Still to come before the end of the programme. We meet the photographer capturing the hidden world of slime mould, not visible to the naked eye. Now, he's a big name in Premier League football and recently took to the Strictly dance floor. Today, former Chelsea and Charlton striker Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank was in Battersea to inspire children and teenagers about the benefits of physical activity. Lauren Moore was there.
These youngsters all think they're playing a bit of five-a-side football to keep them active. But they have a surprise in store.
Okay, how you doing, mate?
All good, mate.
Nice,
good.
nice.
They're about to be joined by a Chelsea legend.
So why do you like to be involved in these kind of projects with these young people?
It's always good to work with children, especially in football. You're outside, nice. Okay, obviously today is cold, but it's still nice. You're outside in the fresh air, and they have a smile on their face. and that's what it's all about. I've always liked football, that was my sport. You're concentrating on the good things instead of being out there and doing things that you shouldn't do. At the age of 7, I started playing football. You have two things, sports and school. So you concentrate on school, but when you're finished with school, you're doing sports and you're doing something positive.
How was the surprise of seeing Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank?
It was really surprising because the pack was like weird and I thought it was just a card and then he popped out.
I was quite shocked and surprised when I saw him. I just didn't expect it. Didn't expect him to just jump out of the big bag thing.
Football's important in terms of discipline, kind of staying on the right path.
Yeah, football can help you with discipline because in games, obviously, you can't do silly stuff like foul and get yellow cards. And if you do it too much, you'll get yellow cards. If you do stupid stuff in life, then you obviously face consequences for that as well.
I like to guide people in the right way for whatever they need, but it's more important for me to see a smile on their face.
Chelsea manager Enzo Maresca was dismissed this week. Jimmy had watched the team's first game without him last night.
At the end, they got the result, and a really good result away at Man City. A good point, and hopefully they can build from that. But the manager has done, or the coach, the interim coach, has done a really good job.
On that note, I'll leave the kids to enjoy playing with their idol. Lauren Moore, BBC London.
A day those kids will remember. Now to what looks like works of art, but isn't. Stunning, isn't it? It's actually a part of nature most of us rarely see. This is slime mould, a living organism that grows almost anywhere and everywhere in London, but is very difficult to see with the naked eye. Well, an award-winning photographer has brought these fascinating organisms to life, as Victoria Cook has been discovering.
Searching for slime mould, a wonderland you'd easily walk straight past. Finding it takes quite a bit of skill, though, and a keen eye like Barry's.
What can you see?
Yeah, little white dots.
Oh, wow. And they're sort of sitting proud of the leaf.
Yeah, they've got little stalks, yeah.
They may seem like little white dots, but look much closer. This is what they really look like. And there's hundreds of different species, an almost magical world of colour and shape, highly magnified by a 2x macro lens.
It's such a small subject and the depth of focus is so shallow. It's one picture wouldn't do them justice. You can get virtually nothing in focus. So you use a technique called focus bracketing, where you take multiple pictures, sometimes over 100, and it takes tiny little slithers of focus, and then you put all those into software, and that creates your final image.
You'd be forgiven for thinking these were types of fungus, but they're not. Slime moulds are a completely different kingdom of single-celled organisms. Interestingly, they more closely resemble amoeba.
I'm now going to fire the shutter. That's quite good. The sun's just gone in, which is nice. So I'll fire the shutter and it will start taking the pictures. And if you watch that, you can see it going through. So these are coming into focus.
Oh, wow.
And as soon as I know I've got them all in like that, I'll stop it.
Here in woodlands west of London, the recent wet and mild weather's made for perfect slime mould conditions.
To be honest, when the conditions are right, you can find them anywhere, even in your own garden. It's worth checking the edges of your compost heaps. Find them in your garden if you keep a little log pile in the garden. Yeah, I recently found some nice ones on a piece of wood at home. Yeah.
So what would your advice be to people? Get a good magnifying glass in the initial...
Yeah, get a little 10x hand lens and have a good look, slow down, take your time.
Barry's incredible photography has won awards and a following online.
As soon as I started posting pictures on slime mould, I got a really good reaction. They're really popular now.
How do you feel sort of being associated with all this? The slime mould man, if you like.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think this is what you'll do with your retirement when you fully retire? Just focus more on the slime mould?
Well, I'll keep going as long as my knees let me get up and down to do it. Yeah.
For now, though, Barry's knees are just fine, and his mission to find more unique and wonderful slime mould continues. Victoria Cook, BBC London.
Who knew? Stunning pictures. Right, we know it's chilly out there, but what about the next few days? Kate is here with that all-important forecast. Hi there.
Hi, Riz. Good evening. Well, it's certainly been a very chilly start to 2026. The temperatures widely today didn't get above 2 Celsius. St James's Park got up to 2.5, so very cold. Now, this was first thing this morning in Richmond. A widespread hard frost, temperatures down at -5.9 overnight at Teddington. So icy conditions, a widespread hard frost, and we're in for a similar night tonight as well. Now, we head into the evening with clear skies. This is what's been happening. You can see any excitement, if you're looking for snow, is further east. It's drifting down the east coast or down towards Wales. For us, we've had brilliant blue sky, sunshine. The wind hasn't been quite so strong today either, but it has been very cold despite this sunshine. Now, this evening, clear skies, still have that Arctic air piling in. The minimum temperature potentially dropping down to -6 or -7. So another bitterly cold night, widespread frost tomorrow morning, hard frost, and also the potential for ice. So first thing tomorrow, chilly. We could just see this front moving through, and that brings cloud. Also the potential largely to the north of us out towards the home counties. Higher ground, you might get a little flurry, nothing more. Dry with sunshine elsewhere. Temperatures tomorrow not quite as cold as today. The wind starts to switch. It comes from the west. The air mass is slightly less chilly, still 4 or 5 Celsius the maximum temperature. Now, to start with, on Tuesday night, it's dry and it's clear, but with that slightly less cold air, it drives in this rain. Now, it will move through on the back edge. We've got colder air digging in behind it, so there is the potential, as you'll see down there, for maybe a little bit of winteriness as that rain starts to clear out on Wednesday morning. So something to watch out for. It could also mean with that previous rain, we could get ice. Now, the Arctic flow returns as we head through Wednesday. Northerly breeze, still some sunshine, temperatures very chilly again, 4 or 5 Celsius. Then overnight, we're going to start to see this moving in. It's going to bring more cloud as we head towards Thursday. That's when the uncertainty occurs. You can see this milder air still trying to push in. It's going to bring rain to the south. There is a question mark as to just how far north it goes. If it gets further north and inland, it bumps into that cold air and we may just see some snow, but that is not guaranteed. There's still a big question mark. Riz.
Thanks, Kate. I know you'll keep an eye on it for us. And that is it on this first Monday of the new year. Thanks for being with us. On our website, check out some wonderful wildlife photos of London's creatures, great and small, that you've been sending in following Sir David Attenborough's documentary Wild London, which is available to watch on iPlayer. From me and everyone on the BBC London team, have a lovely evening and wrap up warm on another cold night. Bye-bye for now.